Boy, this James O'Keefe guy, this is it's amazing what schlubby-looking guys will say when a beautiful woman pays them attention. And it's not just straight guys, too. It's gay guys also.
No, gay guys and fat straight guys will go for anything.
Yeah. So James O'Keefe has done it again. World exclusive bombshell. A senior Department of Justice Epstein investigator reveals on an undercover camera that Epstein was CIA. Of course, this is stuff we all know, but it's nice to have it confirmed by a CIA guy on an undercover camera. He confirms that grapes occurred while Bill Clinton was on the plane. Says of President Trump, he's protecting a lot of other people. He's not protecting himself because there's nothing there. This is what this guy said on an undercover video. So let's.
It's not talked about yet, but it'll soon come out that he was a CIA informant.
So he's saying. So they met this. So some woman, I'm going to guess, some very beautiful woman, meets some schlubby guy who works for the FBI. She knows he does because he's got this, or the Department of Justice. He's got this badge on his backpack. So she goes over, starts trying to honeypot him, and he just starts blabbing to her. And then they go to lunch after, and he keeps going. So what he just said, it's not talked about yet, but it's soon to come out that Epstein was a CIA informant. That's what he just said right there.
Oh, no shit. What about Mossad? He didn't mention that, right? So,
He was a CIA.
He wasn't a CIA. I think he's protecting a lot of other people. He's not protecting himself.
So he says, I think Trump is protecting a lot of other people. He's not protecting himself because there's nothing there, but he's protecting a lot of people.
That's worse.
Which is
worse. If Trump's protecting other people and not himself. Why are you doing that?
Why would he be doing that?
Protecting a lot of people. Because Trump's now saying it's a hoax.
Because Trump's now saying it's a hoax. That's the guy. Trump's now saying it's a hoax. The case is like a hoax or something.
The case is like a hoax or something. I mean, come on, you know it's not a hoax. He's been on the plane, many times.
So Trump's been on at the Lolita Express many times. He was just never on the plane with kids.
He was never on the plane with the kids. I've seen the itineraries and I've interviewed all the victims. There's never been an instance where Trump was on a plane with these kids.
And a grape, because so he said, I've read he's looked into it. He's read all the things. And there was never an instance when Trump was on a plane when these kids were graped.
That can't be said for Clinton.
He says, but that cannot be said for Clinton. And it can't be said for others.
Is there any word on the woman who was 13 that said she was with Trump, with Epstein? Is there any word on that? Was that, it could be a thing they made up at the time to smear Trump, but I've never... Did they follow up on that? I'd like to know more about that.
I'd like to know more about it. Here is more to this.
And it can't be said for others.
While the Clintons were on the plane, while Bill Clinton was on the plane, there were grapes of children that occurred. That's what he's saying there. And of course, I say grape, so I don't get this demonetized.
That's a normal society, isn't it?
Take the G away. Here we go.
While Bill Clinton was on the plane, there were rapes that occurred.
Overheard at Phoenix Airport on September 8th, 2025, a senior Justice Department investigator who personally worked on the Epstein case tells all. Glenn Prager, who has reviewed Epstein itineraries and has interviewed Epstein's victims, drops a bombshell. He says that the DOJ did not want to go after Epstein because he's a CIA asset, that the evidence from his investigation confirms that Bill Clinton was present for alleged rapes on the Lolita Express, and that President Trump was not present for the rapes that Glenn Prager investigated, but that he is protecting a lot of other people that were.
How about this whole Epstein thing that's like going on?
I worked on that case. I used to interview all the victims.
He said, I worked in that case. I used to interview all the victims.
And then my picture was 20 to 30 victims in Palm Beach that I was interviewing. 20 to 30 victims in Palm Beach that I was interviewing and dealing with and stuff like that. And then we go ready to go to trial, and they would flip.
So then they would get ready to go to trial, and all those witnesses would flip. I wonder why.
Epstein would just pay them off.
Epstein would just pay them off. And they were just like these little kids. They pay off their family. They're all broke kids with poor families. That's why Jeffrey Epstein targeted poor kids, because they're easy to pay off. So he didn't target rich kids; he targeted poor kids.
Yeah, once everyone's poor, everyone will be very easy to pay
Yes.
off.
And they were just like these little kids. You know, they pay off their family. They're all broke kids and poor families and all. So you pay them off like anywhere from $150,000 to $500,000. Nothing in that guy's
So
story.
you pay him off with 150 grand, maybe 500 grand, which is nothing to an international trafficker who's got the biggest single family residence in Manhattan, which is Jeffrey Epstein.
Prager there describes how the victims that he interviewed were paid off by Epstein right before going to trial. Prager has worked as an investigator inside the Department of Justice for over 20 years. According to Prager's LinkedIn About page, it says that during the tenure at DOJ, Prager served as an inspector overseeing sensitive investigations involving major DOJ components, including the FBI, DEA, Bureau of Prisons, U.S. Marshal Service, ATF, and the U.S. Attorney's offices. This seems to corroborate what Prager told us. He was tasked with interviewing Epstein's rape victims and investigating flight logs. On his backpack in the airport, we spotted an embroidered FBI patch, which caught the attention of our citizen journalist.
I'll tell you this, because no, it's not talked about yet, but it'll soon come out that he was a CIA informant.
He was a CIA.
He wasn't a CIA.
Although many have suspected it to be the case, this is the first time a Department of Justice official has confirmed that Epstein worked for the CIA and is a foreign asset.
So DOJ was settling a case, and they were just letting him, do house arrest and they minimized his arrest. Part of that is because all the victims kept on flipping, and they didn't have anyone to go to trial with. The more importantly part is they didn't want to go after him. He's a asset for the United States and Israel for the CIA.
So there it is, Kurt. He did mention Israel. He goes, he's an asset for the United States and Israel for the CIA. So he does say it.
I just know that's what he was, and that's why he was protected so long for this. And people turned a blind eye about all this garbage that he was doing in the United States.
So it says people have turned a blind eye to all the garbage Epstein was doing. He had a lot of secrets, with more about Israel stuff than anything else.
Well, who could
Secrets. More about Israeli stuff than anything else. I mean, he was doing stuff for Israel and the United States.
He was doing stuff for Israel and the United States. He was, he was working for both of them.
He's working for both.
Glenn Prager, the Department of Justice investigator on the Epstein case, then talks about whether President Trump was involved. Many are trying to tie Trump to Epstein, but what Glenn Prager says is that Trump wasn't present during the inappropriate sexual behavior that he was investigating. But Prager does say that Bill Clinton was, backed up by his experience interviewing the victims and reviewing the Epstein Lolita Express itineraries. Quote, "They killed the Epstein list to protect the Clintons."
But they claim that Trump's involved in the rapes and all that stuff, and he wasn't. I mean, I've seen the agendas, I've seen the itineraries, and I've interviewed all the victims. There's never been an instance where Trump was on a plane with these kids and a rape occurred. But that can't be said for Clinton, and it can't be said for others. I remember that it was being killed because I know Clintons were on there. And
The Clintons were on there.
100%. And while the Clintons were on the plane, while Bill Clinton was on the plane, there were rapes that occurred. And I'm saying Trump, although as many flights as there were and all that kind of stuff, and on the island and all that stuff, he was never there during a single alleged rape. But Clinton for sure. And that's where the big cover-up was.
So the big cover-up was around Clinton.
Why is he covering up for the Clintons?
Anyone? Because he has handlers. Donald Trump has a boss, and they want to cover it. That's it.
Department of Justice investigator inside the Trump Justice Department says that while Trump may not have been present during the crimes that Prager investigated, it is clear that Trump is, quote, protecting a lot of people.
I don't know what's new that I have never seen that he's so hesitant to now show what's going on, and releasing all those files. I think he's protecting a lot of other people. He's not protecting himself because there's nothing there, but he's protecting a lot of people.
The citizen journalist boarded American Airlines Flight 1634 and landed in D.C. Monday at 8 o'clock at night and proceeded to go to dinner with this man, this DOJ investigator, at a restaurant called Blue Duck Tavern.
Didn't we eat there?
Why does that sound familiar?
Is that at the Hyatt, that restaurant?
It sounds like it.
Is that where we went to dinner?
Glenn Prager dislikes
The Blue Duck Tavern. I think we went there.
Sounds like that.
the fact Trump said the Epstein scandal is a hoax. But he also says, according to the evidence from his investigation, that Trump is not covering up for himself.
Because Trump's now saying it's a hoax, the case is like a hoax or something. I'm like, come on, you know it's not a hoax. He says a lot of stupid stuff. He's been on the plane, many times. It's just he was never on the plane with the kids. People want to tie it to him and say he's covering up for himself, but he's not.
Now, this is a very good thing for President Trump and seemingly exonerates him from many people who claim that he was doing something inappropriate himself. This dinner went on for an hour and 45 minutes as this Department of Justice investigator revealed things to a stranger that the leadership of the FBI and the Department of Justice has not. Prager revealed more information about Trump's hesitation to be fully transparent with the Epstein case, gave us some details about internal gripes against FBI Director Kash Patel from within the FBI, and he detailed a developing feud between Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi. If you'd like to see more of that conversation in the restaurant, you may subscribe to OMG and find it on our website.
Who was like the one name where you're like, oh my God.
So then he calls this guy. So James O'Keefe calls that guy, that FBI guy.
Here he is. Hey there, is this Glenn?
Yes.
You work for the Department of Justice, correct?
No.
You don't work for the Department of Justice. You had a patch on your backpack that said FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, in the airport.
Yeah.
And you talked about how you interviewed the Epstein people, all the Epstein victims. Do you recall that conversation?
I didn't. No. No. How can I help you?
I wanted to confirm that you, in fact, did work for the department. Hang on with the phone.
He hangs up. Calls him back.
Let's try calling him again. Glenn?
I'm not talking to you.
Well,
I don't know who you are. I'm not talking to you.
You already did speak to my friend.
And hangs up again.
Hey, now stop talking. I don't know who you are.
I'm a journalist. I need your help, sir.
I'm not talking to you or any journalist about anything.
Did you interview the Epstein victims?
I can't talk to you.
Sir. On the heels of releasing...
So anyway, that's... in case anybody needed more confirmation. Boy, this James O'Keefe guy, this is it's amazing what schlubby-looking guys will say when a beautiful woman pays them attention. And it's not just straight guys, too. It's gay guys also.
No, gay guys and fat straight guys will go for anything.
Yeah. Gay guys and fat straight guys. So, again, I don't know how James O'Keefe gets this stuff, how they get people to talk like that, but they do. And apparently Virginia or Washington, D.C., apparently you don't need to disclose that you're taping, which is very helpful to someone
in D.C.
That's
crazy.
That's where this
Or
happened.
New York. Why in California do you have to?
California, you have to tell people you're recording. So I remember whenever I interviewed somebody, I would go, "Hey, I'm recording this." So you have to let them know. But you'd have to do that, I guess, in New York, and you'd have to do it in Washington, D.C. Is that Virginia? Maybe.
No, well, DC's its own thing. It's like the city of London or something. Not London itself.
So here's a little more.
It's not talked about yet, but it's soon to come out.
Anyway, no, we got it. Department of so he says so the guy reached out. The Department of Justice investigator reached out offering a response to our report. You want to hear what his response is? Ready for this? I was approached in what I believed was a casual, non-professional context. Yeah, that's why you let your guard down and told the truth. And I later learned the individual was misrepresenting themselves. How dare they do an undercover investigation where they misrepresent? Because the FBI never does that. They never pretend to be someone else when they're infiltrating a group to get evidence, right? They would never do that. Thinking it was simply personal banter, I responded in kind. Why would you make all that stuff up then? So I always, when I'm just having a casual conversation with a stranger, I just make up all this stuff about the Epstein case. Any remarks from that exchange should not be interpreted as accurate statements, because I'm a liar. That's what he's saying. Or reflective of my actual work, conduct, or opinions. I want to ensure there is no confusion caused by the misleading interaction. Oh, it's misleading. So this is what's called a gaffe in Washington, D.C. when you get caught telling the truth.
I thought this was fake until I saw this.
Please stop.
I thought it was fake until I saw this idiot put this out here like this.
He says, please stop calling and texting. It's approaching harassment. Printing any story related to my opinion is misleading and or is completely inaccurate. To make it perfectly clear, I was not involved in any way, and any opinions are based on public information. So that's what he's saying now. Here's what Jessica Vaughn, immediately underneath this post on Twitter, Jessica Vaughn says, wrap James O'Keefe in guards and prayers. Roseanne Barr says, excellent work as always. Roger Stone, this is completely consistent with the research I did for my book, Clinton's War on Women, and its extensive chapter on Epstein. Luke Rudkowski, friend of the show, says, huge. Ginny, I don't know who she is. She says, another conspiracy theory proven true. Luke Rudkowski doing good, big 1.2 thousand likes on it.
Is it really like a thing that, again, this is like that disclosure bullshit. Like you really needed to wait until one of them let it slip trying to get laid. That's what it was. The thing we all know.
No, I mean, no, this is no, I don't need it. But this now gives reporters and everybody else ammunition when they want to confront Kash Patel or they want to confront Donald Trump or Pam Bondi or Dan Bongino. They have ammunition, real hard evidence of this guy saying this stuff. So here, remember what? First of all, they could just show this video of Kash Patel. This is before he knew he was going to be FBI director. Oh. This is what he used to say to Glenn Beck.
So for instance, who is currently holding, this is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
The FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
Director of the FBI.
Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. Yeah. We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a Black Book.
But the Black Book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the Black Book. And not just that. On day one, roll out all of the text message communications we were told were deleted. On day one, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber. On day, one of the reforms I talk about in government gangsters is you need a central node to be continuously declassifying. This is another thing they do. They overclassify. And I'm telling you, as a former number 2 in the IC, they overclassify 50% of the stuff there to protect the deep state. Oh no, you can't see that. Nothing to see here. Gina was a master at it.
That's exactly what they said about the Epstein files, him and Dan Bongino. Well, I've seen it, and he killed himself. I saw it. I saw all the records. Well, release all the records.
I don't care if he killed himself. Who was going to his island and doing stuff with kids that still works there? That's what I wanted to know.
Hey, why don't you release the Black Book that he's screaming about here with Glenn Beck? That he's saying that it's directly in control of the FBI director. Well, guess who's the FBI director now? Him.
Why are they saying the Black Book? That's the thing Nick Bryant had that he wrote his book about. He told us on the show. The flight logs, is that what they mean? The Black Book is what Nick Bryant has. We repeated. He's the guy more than in the binder they had. Nick Bryant had that Black Book, and I don't remember him getting it from the FBI.
So let's watch. Well, according to the FBI director now, in 2023, the guy who's currently the FBI director was saying that the FBI director has all the pertinent documents. He has the Hoover power times 10. J. Edgar Hoover power. He's got the blackmail stuff. The FBI director does. Has he released any of that stuff? Absolutely not. He said that they should release everything.
Of doing it.
And so that's one of those rare videotapes where Kash Patel where his eyes don't look like he caught him tugging it in the bathroom, if you know what I mean. Here's what Donald Trump says about it.
Mr. President, I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say let them have it.
Mr. President, a question on AI. How do you want Americans to think about it?
This is for a former deputy director of the CIA. He says Israeli spies have done more harm and have damaged the United States more than the intelligence agents of all other countries on earth combined. They are the gravest threat to our national security. That's Admiral Bobby Inman said that, former deputy director of the CIA. Did he really say that? I don't know. Let's ask Grok. Did he really say that? Well, here's Julian Assange. The reason the FBI wouldn't let the Epstein client list come out in court is because if they did, their blackmail would no longer be useful. And the CIA would lose their control over all the powerful people they spent decades setting up. So that's why. That's why they can't let any of this information out. That's why they have to make it's a hoax. There's nothing there. He didn't work for CIA or the Mossad. He was just some guy who was a creep, and that's that. And he's dead now. Just like Bill Gates said. Well, he's dead now. So we don't have to talk about it anymore.
I'm waiting for Michael Tracy's take myself.
I'm waiting for Michael Tracy's take.
I'm waiting for that small, fat, oily man to tell me to forget what I saw.
And if, by the way, if you want to see me prove that I'm not on the Epstein list, come see me in Hermosa Beach on October 2nd, or Sacramento, or San Francisco, or in Australia. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. See me on tour in Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco, Melbourne, Australia, Sydney, Australia, Brisbane, Burbank, California the day after Thanksgiving, and Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.